an author, educator, business consultant, and a much sought after speaker. He inspires and encourages individuals to realize their true potential. He has taken his dynamic personal messages to the opposite sides of the globe, from the US to the Singapore. His 40 years of research and understanding has put millions on the path of growth and fulfillment. Over 8 million copies of his books have been sold globally, including his international bestseller, You Can Win, in 21 different languages. With clients like Lufthansa, HP, DHL, HSBC, Canon, Nestle, Philips, just to name a few, tens of thousands have benefited from his dynamic workshops internationally in over 20 countries, and millions have heard him as a keynote speaker. He has appeared on numerous radio and television shows. A brand ambassador of Roundtable Foundation, he's also been honored by the Lions International and Rotary International. His trademark is winners don't do different things, they do things differently. Ladies and gentlemen, with a warm round of applause, please welcome Mr. Shiv Khera.
All right, thanks for the kind words. I didn't know I did all those things. But anyway, thank you very much for the kind words. Well, first of all, I'd like to congratulate the Union Bank for celebrating their 102nd anniversary. Man, what an achievement it is. And their leadership team, the managing director, Mr. Rai, and his team of EDs, Mr. Gopal Singh, Mr. Dinesh Kumar, Mr. Mishra, and Mr. Manas Biswal. And indeed, I congratulate all of you. And becoming the 5th largest bank in the country, it's I think it's a great achievement and a big responsibility going forward. Now, folks, let me share why did we put this title as Turn Setbacks into Comebacks? Because in my own life, I've had 3 major setbacks where I got into a minus. And what were the things that got me back to my life again? I'm going to share a little bit of that. Now, certainly I don't have all the answers. I don't know if anybody who has all the answers today. But all I can say is I'm not that educated. My academics are. I'm a BCom 3rd division. I failed in my 10th. That's my academics. Now, I come from a business family. We had coal mines in India, close to 1,000 people working, and the mines got nationalized. The government took over. And some people had money. We did not, because my father had died when I was just about finishing college, and we were left with the liabilities and the assets were gone. And I was married only 4 weeks then. I remember a year later, my daughter was born, and I sold some of the last pieces of my mother's jewelry to get released from the hospital. I did not have $10 to buy milk that night. Well, I tried my hands on 3 businesses with no money, and I failed in all 3. Finally, November 13, 1975, I left India, went to US, initially went to Toronto, and started life with a bucket in my hand, washing cars door to door for a year and a half. Now, see, totally by accident, I got into selling life insurance, which in my opinion was the best thing that ever happened to me in my life. It taught me many, many things. But within 3 months of joining selling life insurance, my manager called me and threatened to fire me for non-performance. Now, from this point onwards, what are the things that changed in my life, which turned around my life? I'm going to share that with you tonight. You see, thereafter, I became a $1 million producer. I qualified for $1 million Roundtable for 4 years, moved on to the US, got into 3 businesses, and I bought out a company out of California, 1984. Started the New Jersey operation with no clients, and I sold my company with close to 500 clients for a decent sum. Now, that's my sharing that I will do today, what helped me turn around. Now, with that, folks, this corona crisis has gone from one city to another, covered the whole world. overcrowded hospitals, shortage of supplies, orders getting canceled, factories are closing, unemployment going up, death rate going up. This scenario has literally shaken up the whole world. Now, with that, people are feeling insecure, uncertainty has come in, and that is causing stress, anxiety, frustration, depression, and even anger. Now, all I can say is, folks, stress is both normal and natural. Anybody who says they have no stress, they belong into the lunatic asylum. Now, folks, all stress is not bad. In fact, it is stress that makes us perform. Folks, the athlete at the Olympics, is he under stress? Answer is yes. If he was not, there's no way he can perform. Same thing, pretty much we might have seen in real life or in the movies at the race course. Folks, have you seen the thoroughbreds? When they're being taken into the cabin, how are they going? They're not walking casually, relaxed. They are jumping like this. Why? Because they are under very heavy stress. And when they get in the cabin, and the moment the bell rings, what do? They perform. Now that's a thoroughbred. But if you take a jackass to the race course, this jackass walks so cool, relaxed, comfortable. He's not jumping like the thoroughbreds. But then he will never perform like a thoroughbred. He will remain a jackass for the rest of his life. Now, why do I share this, folks? This is important. Remember, stress is the price we pay to be a thoroughbred in life. I repeat, stress is the price we pay to be a thoroughbred in life. Now, folks, all of us can handle stress. But what we cannot handle is chronic stress. I repeat, all of us can handle stress. What we cannot handle is chronic stress. Now, folks, I just want to make sure that we do not overrate this crisis and threat, and we should not underrate our strength to fight and win. I repeat, see, let us not overrate this crisis and threat, and let us not underrate our strength to fight and win. Now, this crisis has impacted us three ways. One, our life. Two, our livelihood. Three, our lifestyle. Now, how has it impacted our life? Folks, none of us know who will be in quarantine next. Nobody knows. And what we do, where we go, and who we meet could be a matter of life and death. Folks, that is life. Now, let us talk of the second part is livelihood. How has it impacted our livelihood? Folks, and who has it impacted the worst? Folks, everywhere, either there are salary cuts or job cuts. Businesses are closing, many businesses have closed. And in New York, about 40% of restaurants have closed permanently, gone. And same thing, even the governments are going bankrupt because they're not collecting taxes either. Now, who has been the worst hit? Folks, there are three kinds of people. One is the super rich, super rich. Two, mediocre. Three, the poor. The worst hit are the poor people because they're the daily wage earners. They work during the day and eat in the evening. Okay, they're the worst hit. Now let us talk of the super rich. Folks, super rich have become richer. I repeat, super rich have become richer. They don't have a cash flow problem. They don't have a liquidity problem. I just read Apple Computers has $250 billion in cash reserve. Now, they can't have a cash flow problem. They don't have a livelihood problem. And I just read in the newspaper the other day that only in the last 6 months during lockdown period, Mukesh Ambani's net worth has gone up by $22 billion. Only in the last 6 months since the lockdown came in. So they're getting richer. Now comes the mediocre. Mediocre are people like me and some other listeners also. Mediocres are thinking, will the crisis finish before the money, or will the money finish before the crisis? Now, folks, we need to understand, every few years, there's a buzzword come up. It used to be startup, startup, startup. And now make in India, make in India, make in India. And the third one is work from home, work from home, work from home. Now, folks, maybe in some industries we can work from home, such as IT. Let me ask you, how do you work from home in a construction industry? You can't. How do you work from home in a manufacturing industry? You can't. I had a corporate senior executive come to see me the other day, and I asked him, how is the work from home culture working? You are paying salaries, but are you getting the right output? Can you justify the salaries? Folks, it was interesting to hear what he said. He said, Mr. Khera, the 80-20 rule applies. I repeat, the 80-20 rule applies. He said, all over the world, this is global. He says, all over the world, 20% people are responsible, they can work without supervision. And the 80% need supervision. Even if you give them measurable targets, you still need to supervise. And people who are not mature, they think working from home is a paid vacation. It's not. Now, on the livelihood side, one more thing I'd like to add is, and that is, see, till now, the word was globalization, globalization, globalization. And all of a sudden, the word has become localization, localization, localization. Why? See, till now, production was 20,000 miles away from consumption. But all of a sudden, now the consuming country has realized that the producing country can blackmail us and put us out of business in less than 5 minutes. Folks, I was totally surprised when I read the other day that USA depends on China for 97% of the pharma products. Man, I was shocked. Not only that, and I read the other day that India depends on China for 81% of the antibiotics. India depends on China for 70% of the electronics. A producing country like that can blackmail you and put you out of business in less than 5 minutes. So now it is so important that the production must come closer to consumption. And one more thing, why did the production go that far away anyway? Primarily because of labor cost. But today, with AI, robotics, you can create a facility 50 times bigger, manufacturing facility, with 1/10 of the labor. So labor cost is becoming very insignificant. Okay, these are the real issues that we have to face after the pandemic is over. Many issues have to be faced again. Now, comes the third side is lifestyle. Folks, till the lockdown came in, all of us were in the fast lane. We were all running. We had no time. Look at this. What a paradox. The amount of time-saving devices we have today, we have never had that many in history. And yet, we don't have what? We don't have time. You know why? Because somewhere we messed up our priorities. And I'm not giving lectures here. I'm guilty myself. Folks, and when we mess up our priorities, we forget to distinguish between what's urgent in life and what's important in life. Now, folks, important may or may not be urgent, and urgent may or may not be important. But the interesting thing is, Whenever we ignore what is important, it always converts into urgent. See, folks, in life, health is important, but it's not urgent. Exercising every day is important, but it's not urgent. Now, if I have a crucial meeting tonight and I cannot exercise, it's not the end of the world. But if I ignore my health long enough, guess what happens? I will end up in the hospital. Interesting. Whenever we ignore what is important, it converts into urgent. Now, look at this. In life, relationships are important, but they're not urgent. But if you ignore relationship long enough, guess what happens? You start talking to your lawyers. Folks, I was addressing a business school, and I asked them, these MBA students, what is the difference between selling and marketing? And typically, what they teach, they have this thick books. I don't know what's written in there, but anyway, they immediately came back with the cliched stuff, B2B, B2C, B2B, B2C, B2B, B2C. I said, keep in mind, throw all that out of your system. Remember, every sale and purchase is P to P. It is people to people. People buy things from people they like. I repeat, people buy things from people they like. And here it is. People buy what they want to buy, not what they need to buy. So my next question was, are we need creators or are we want creators? And they had a blank. They didn't know what I was talking about. Folks, it comes down to people relationship. Now, one more thing. What this crisis has done is made people step backwards and reevaluate the priorities. You ask people, why do you go to work? I go to work for my family. Why do you work hard? I work hard for my family. Who are the most important people in your life? My family. Who are the most neglected? Also my family. What a joke. The most important people become the most neglected, and that is sad. And I'm guilty too. And what this pandemic has done, it has made people step backwards. And they started evaluating. Till now, we were running all right. Question is, were we running in the right direction? And now the realization has come that in life, direction is much more important than speed. I repeat, in life, direction is much more important than speed. And till now, we kept hearing, cash is king, cash is king, cash is king. But did we even understand the meaning of it? Now all of a sudden people have realized what cash and king meant. It is better to have money in the bank than to have 50 shirts in your closet. It is better to have money in the bank than to buy a car worth $250,000. It doesn't make sense. This is what cash is king means. Now, looking at that, there are only two examples through history where we have faced a similar crisis. One was the Spanish flu. Many people have talked about it. I'm not going to go into it. But only I just would like to say one thing about it, and that is Spanish flu came in 1918 and it went away. And people thought the danger is over. But 6 months later, it came back in the second phase and killed 50 million people were dead. Folks, in the US right now, 250,000 people are dead. And the doctors are saying the second phase has not even come as yet. Now, UK has a national lockdown last week. Spain, many other countries are doing the same thing right now. So all I'm saying is that because the lockdown is over does not mean the danger is over. Okay. Now, number two, the second example that was there was the Great Depression of 1929. Banks collapsed, stock market crashed, people lost their savings. and $100 became $15. And 15 million people became unemployed. Now, folks, 15 million people 100 years ago is equivalent to 60 million today, because the population then was only 120 million. Now, here is the silver lining. Folks, during that Great Depression, when people had no money, no education, no technology, and no risk-taking ability, but there were some people who started their business, and today they have become household words. Now, how were they able to cope up with the crisis? Why? Because they were solution-focused people. Now, have you noticed there are some people who are only problem-focused? You know what that means? You give them a solution, they'll give you a problem. They have a problem for every solution. Henry Ford said, kick them out. Kick them out. We're not stupid. We understand there are problems. We need some solution-focused people. Let me show you 3 examples of people, how they came back and became big businesses today. One was a man by the name of George Jenkins. In his neighborhood, he started an outlet for non-perishable durable goods. Why these 2 words are important? Because if they perish, it will be total loss. And durable means if he was not able to sell, at least he could use it, because they had no risk-taking ability. This is how he started 100 years ago. And today, his turnover is $30 billion, net worth $6 billion, and he has 1,000 outlets in the US, and the store's name is called Public Supermarket. Second example was, there were 2 brothers in California, Gallo brothers. And they were struggling. They caught hold of some grapes and started making wine out of it, but nobody would buy it. They started selling the wine at 50% below market. This is how they started. And today, Gallo Wineries accounts for 25% of the wine trade in the US, with the valuation being close to $10 billion. And the third example was a man by the name of Simplot. He had a patch of land in Idaho. He started cultivating potatoes. Now, what he couldn't sell, they ate. What he couldn't eat started rotting. He could not afford the loss of rotten potatoes, so he started freezing them. And folks, this is how he started. And today, he accounts for 33% of the French fries business in the US. McDonald's being the largest customer, and their valuations are close to 10 to 12 billion dollars. Now, why am I sharing all this with you? I don't want my listeners to get the impression that you and I start any venture, we will all become billionaires. That is not the message. The message is only one thing. These people were all struggling, but they had only one thing. They were solution-focused people. We need to become solution-focused. You see, this sentence is very important. Think about it. How come, under the same set of circumstances, some people break records while others break themselves? How come? I repeat, how come under the same set of circumstances, some people break records while others break themselves? How come? Folks, now let me share with you, how do we overcome this crisis and threat? Normally, I cover 9 steps, but in the interest of time, let me see how much I can cover. At least I will cover 6 or 7. I'm going to go slow if you want to take them down. Folks, step one is called the Serenity Prayer. About 45 years ago, I attended a program by Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, the man who wrote the book Power of Positive Thinking. There were about 1,000 people. I was one of them. Dr. Peale came, looked at everybody, and he said, You people appear so cool, comfortable, relaxed. It appears nobody has a problem here. So he asked, does anybody have a problem here? So everybody raised their hand. Who doesn't have a problem? And then Dr. Peel asked, how many people would like to get rid of the problem? Again, everybody raised their hand. Then Dr. Peel said, while I was coming here, I came across a place where I saw some people. They were all stretched out, relaxed, comfortable. They had no problem whatsoever. How many people would like to know where that place is? Again, everybody raised their hand. And folks, then Dr. Peel said, while I was coming here, 2 blocks away from here, there is a cemetery. There are people lying there, all stretched out, totally comfortable. They have no problem whatsoever. Then he asked, how many people would like to get rid of their problem? Nobody raised a hand. Everybody put their hand in the pocket. And then Dr. Peel said, remember, problem is a sign of life. So long as we are alive, we shall have problems. The day we don't have problems, we'd be dead. And when you're running short of problems, that is a time to get on your knees and pray to God. If you stop trusting me anymore, send me some problems. And folks, that day, he gave a prayer, which is called the Serenity Prayer. And in my opinion, it is the crux of life, gist of life. I'll repeat twice, and it goes like this. God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, and courage to change the things that I can, and wisdom to know the difference, what I can and what I cannot. I repeat, God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, and courage to change the things that I can, and wisdom to know the difference, what I can and what I cannot. Now, if you analyze and dissect this little prayer, God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change. Now, my question is, can we change everything in this world the way we want it? No. Do we control everything and we can manipulate the way we want it? No. Folks, there are many things beyond us, such as, I didn't choose my parents, neither did you. I didn't decide where I was going to be born, and neither did you. If this is my height and the color of my skin, there's nothing I can do about it. And granted, sometimes people are born deformed. Sometimes bad things do happen to good people for no fault of their own. What wrong did they do? Who knows? Folks, he said, what I cannot change, let me accept it graciously, not grudgingly. Because many times in life, we keep fighting the things we just cannot change, and we bring stress into our lives, and we become paralyzed, and we become unproductive. So it says, what I cannot change, let me accept it graciously. How did this corona crisis come? I don't know, but it's here. So what I cannot change, let me accept it graciously. And 2, if I can change, then give me the guts to do it, courage. And 3, wisdom to know what I can, what I cannot. Now, when I wrote my book, You Can Achieve More, which was launched in London last year, I took this thought 2 steps forward, and I wrote in that life is full of choices and life is full of compromises. Seems like a contradiction, but not really. See, if I ill-treat you, I've chosen to be ill-treated, haven't I? If I treat you with discourtesy, I've chosen to be treated with discourtesy, haven't I? If I light up a cigarette, I've chosen to invite cancer, haven't I? And if I drink and drive, I've chosen to invite an accident, haven't I? And if I exercise every day, I've chosen to invite good health, haven't I? And if I eat too much every day, I've chosen to be obese, haven't I? Now, if I tell lies, I have chosen to lose my credibility, haven't I? And if I tell the truth, I've chosen to be a credible person, haven't I? See, life is full of choices. Now, very important. Folks, we are all free to the point of choice. But after we make our choices, the choice controls the chooser. We have no more choice. Now, how is life full of compromises? In life, we cannot choose the cards that are dealt to us. What we can choose is how we play the game. And sometimes nature gives us a lemon. The choice is ours. Do we cry or do we make lemonade? That's our choice. Now, folks, many times people ask me, Mr. Khera, those who succeed in life, don't they make mistakes in life? And people who fail in life, don't they do positive things in life? And my answer is that people who succeed, they do make mistakes in life. But remember, making a mistake once in a while does not make anybody a failure. Repeating the same mistake again and again is what brings failure. And doing something positive once in a while does not bring success either. Repeating the same positive behavior again and again is what brings success. So what is success? Series of positive choices in life is called success, and series of negative choices in life is called failure. And that's about it. That's step one. Now, step two is, folks, convert your wasted time to productive time. Convert your downtime to uptime. How do you do it? Folks, before this crisis came, in the US, there was a survey conducted which said an average American watches 3 to 4 hours of TV per day before the crisis. And right now, there are people watching 8-10 hours of TV per day. So a man went to his friend who watched 3-4 hours of TV per day, and he said, how much did this TV cost you? He said, $1,000. He said, you don't understand how to calculate cost. He said, have you ever calculated what is your hourly rate financially, money-wise? He said, well, I haven't done it, but if I make $100,000 per year, and if I work 2,000 hours per year, my hourly rate becomes $50 an hour. He said, well, you watch 4 hours of TV per day. $50 multiplied with 4 hours is $200 per day. Watching 365 per year. Do you know this TV is costing you $85,000 per year, which is more than your EMI on $1 million home? Folks, this is so true. Now, don't get me wrong. We all like to watch TV. It's a nice movie. It's a nice play. It relaxes. But watching 4 hours of TV per day, what are you doing? You are wasting your life. Now, folks, in my book, You Can Achieve More, I have mentioned a survey which was conducted. It said 85% of millionaires and billionaires in the world today are first generation. Only 15% coming from inheritance. 85% of millionaires and billionaires are first generation. And they were asked, how did you achieve so much financial success in such a short time? And he said, and they said, we read books. How many books? 50 books a year. 50 books a year means 1 book a week. 1 book a week. 1 book a week. Folks, Warren Buffett reads 100 pages per day. Bill Gates is an avid reader. And these people, multimillionaires and billionaires, read one book a week, one book a week. And they were asked, what kind of books do you read? They said, we read only self-help books, not fiction. Why? We don't have time to waste. Because one good idea from a self-help book is worth $1 million. One good idea. And they read one book a week. Now, what does it tell us? There is a connection between learning and earning and learning and earning and learning and earning and learning and earning. Learn more, earn more. But there are many people who say, I have no time to read a book, or I have no money to buy a book. You know something? They are either underemployed, unemployed, but they will still not read a book. And they say, well, when I have the money to buy a book, I will take a book. They don't understand. You can get every book for free today at a library. They will only make excuses. They will never read any book. Folks, why do I share this with you? For a very important reason. Arrow Electronics from US, it's a $26 billion company. They're my clients. The managing director attended my program about 20 years ago, and he bought all our books. And he gave all our books to all his employees, all employees. And folks, he said when he took over as the managing director, they had 2% market share. Now they have 20% market share. And he said, they've celebrated the bumper quarter. The biggest quarter in the history of the company was the last 3 months during the pandemic. They celebrated. I was the keynote. They invited me to address. And they have done $2 billion in sale in the last quarter during the lockdown. And he said, Mr. Khera, I've been reading your book for the last 20 years, and I read it every year. I read your book 20 times, 20 times. Folks, why am I sharing this? Because many times people tell me, Mr. Khera, I've read your book once. I said, well, you wasted your time and money. Reading a good book once is not good enough. Why? When you read a good book the second time, you don't find anything new in the book, but you find something new in yourself. You read a good book the third time, you find something new in yourself. And the fourth time, the fifth time, sixth time. There are books I have read 6, 7, 8 times. Folks, and I also learned one thing, that a serious reader will never borrow or lend books. Never borrow or lend. Why? Many times people come and tell me, Mr. Khera, I've got a great book, I can lend it to you. I said, don't. Give it to me, gift it to me, sell it to me. Don't lend it to me. Why? Because I won't give it back to you. Why? Because when I read a book, I always underline and make notes on the side. Why? Because I learned one thing. Reading a good book once is not good enough. There are books I've read 6, 5, 7, 8 times. Now, I share this for a very important reason. Because if during this pandemic period, if we have not upskilled ourselves or become more knowledgeable or become healthier and fitter, we cannot blame that we don't have time. It is only because we don't have self-discipline and commitment. Now, why do I share these 3 things? Because lockdown took place in March. Folks, I did my first webinar on April 8th. Now, till April 8th, I was learning to do SMS for my grandchildren. Folks, till then, in my life, I had never done an email. I had never opened a computer. But I learned the computer a little bit. I'm not an expert even now, but I learned a little bit. And in the last 4 months, 120 days, I have done 102 webinars. 102! And we are giving out dates for January. It has opened up totally a new avenue of a new business to us. So what have I done? I have upskilled 2 I used to read 20, 30 books a year at one time. But in between, I dropped the habit. I went into my office, saw many books were half read. I started reading my books back again. And three, I've lost 6 kilos of weight. I'm exercising. I'm feeling much healthier and better. Folks, all I can say is, if during this crisis, if we have not upskilled ourselves, 2, become more knowledgeable, 3, become healthier and fitter, we cannot say we don't have time. It is we lack the commitment and self-discipline. So convert your wasted time to productive time. And step three, folks, step 3 is to overcome any crisis or threat. Folks, we need to build strong relationships in life. I repeat, we need to build strong relationships. Folks, our biggest asset in life is not our bank balance. Our biggest asset in life is our relationship balance. Folks, have you noticed one thing? That people who have good relationships, what they can achieve with one phone call, you cannot achieve with $1 million. I repeat, people who have good relationships, what they can achieve with one phone call, you cannot achieve with $1 million. Now, we talk of relationships at home, personally, professionally, socially. And now, keep in mind, folks, there's a big difference between building contacts versus building relationship. I repeat, there's a big difference between building contacts versus building relationships. You see, there are many schools and colleges, the business schools today, they teach their graduates, you must learn to do networking. And to do networking, they join organizations like the Chamber of Commerce's, Rotaries, Lions, many other places. And you ask them, what is the purpose of networking? And the answer is, we're building contacts. Why are you building contacts? Because someday he could be useful. Someday he could be useful. He's a doctor, he's a lawyer, he's a cop, he's a mafia, he's a politician, he's something. Build contacts. Someday he could be useful. Folks, usefulness goes, friendship also goes. You can never build relationship with people like this. They're only takers, rascals, parasites, selfish people. How can you build relationship with them? Folks, we have an office in Singapore. And one day I came from dinner and a man met me in the lobby and he asked, you came from dinner? I said, yes. He said, you met some people? I said, yes. He said, I hope you met some people who could be useful to you in life. I hope you met some people who could be useful to you. I felt like giving him a piece of my mind and something else. You know something, his only one criteria was, I hope they were useful to you. He's only looking from the angle of usefulness, what he can extract out of you. Folks, keep in mind, usefulness is never the purpose of friendship. If that is the purpose, usefulness finishes, relationship goes. There's nothing left. Folks, keep in mind, if I have a friend of 20 years and tonight if he has a problem, who is the most natural person he will go to for help? 20 years friend. He's not going to make new friends tonight. Now, is it my duty to help? Answer is yes. If I help him, am I doing a favor? No. If I don't help him, am I behaving like a friend? No. Remember one thing, folks, helping each other is a duty of a friend. It is never the purpose of friendship. Because if it is the purpose of friendship, purpose finishes, friendship finishes also. Remember, helping each other is a purpose. Helping each other is a duty of a friend, but it is always incidental to friendship, never the purpose of friendship. Now, how do you build relationships? Folks, in life, you can only build relationships by adding a value addition to another person's life. And in order to add value addition, we must learn to give. We must learn to give. We cannot just be a taker. If we don't know and learn how to give, we can never in life ever build a relationship. Never. Folks, in today's environment, the millennials, today's environment, breakdown of relationship is so common today. This young generation, you know what they think the motto is? You see, love at first sight, divorce at first fight. Interesting. Love at first sight and divorce at first fight. Folks, we need to understand what relationship is all about. And relationships are built on mutual respect. Mutual respect, not tolerance. In my opinion, tolerance is not a good word. Why do I share that? See, I and my wife live together, not because we can tolerate each other. We live together because we respect each other. The day respect of each other goes, we can't live together. If we live only together because we can tolerate each other, it's a matter of time before we part. Same thing. Employers and employees work long-term together, not because they can tolerate each other, but they work together because they respect each other. When respect goes, you can't work together. Folks, all this that I'm sharing with you, I don't know of any school and college in this world that is teaching all this. Folks, we got a call from James Cook University. The dean attended our program in Singapore. They're from Australia. And he said, I've been in teaching for the past almost 15, 20 years and in the business schools. He said, Mr. Khera, I haven't seen anything like this. And they're partnered with us now. And they asked me to set up a center of leadership excellence for their Singapore campus, which we're doing right now. And I've been doing corporate training for the last 30, 35 years. And with Lufthansa, Johnson & Johnson, HSBC, many other organizations. And I share with people that what I am doing in your corporation today is repair work, repairing. This is called repair work. Now, if you prepare them, you won't have to repair them. Where do you prepare them? You prepare them in schools and colleges. So we created a program for James Cook, which says, prepare them, don't repair them. This is so crucial, building relationship, and especially in banking. You see, every bank is giving the same service, the same products. But then why does one bank differentiate from the other? It is the relationship factor. Relationship factor. Folks, that is where people go to do banking. Relationship factor. Okay. Folks, next step is become a proactive person, which means we need to accept responsibility in life. That's the only way to overcome crisis. Okay. How do we do that? When we do our 3 or 4 day program, many times we ask people, are you a good person? And sometimes they say, yes, I'm good. And you ask them, what makes you good? They say, well, I don't do bad, so I'm good. I don't tell lies, I don't cheat, I don't steal, so I'm good. And my answer is, we disagree with your answer. See, folks, when I don't do bad does not make me good. If I don't steal, it only means I'm not a thief. But that does not make me good. And if I don't tell lies, it only means I'm not a liar. But that does not make me good. Go ask a medical doctor. Folks, absence of ill health does not mean good health. I repeat, absence of ill health does not mean good health. Similarly, not doing bad does not make a person good. A person becomes good only when they proactively do good. Now, why do I share this? I've been doing leadership program for the past 30 odd years with companies like Lufthansa, Johnson & Johnson, and so on. And I've learned one thing, that a good leader takes a stand for something and takes a stand against something. A good leader is not neutral. If you're neutral, you are a politician. Now, why do I share that? Folks, I did a program for about 5,000-6,000 people, and one person from the audience came up and he asked me, Mr. Khera, are you a Gandhian? I thought for a moment. I learned one thing, that before you answer a question, you must clarify the question. And two, sometimes the best answer to a question is a question. So I asked him, sir, can you define a Gandhian to me? And can you tell me what are the criteria of being a Gandhian and what are the principles of Gandhi? So he said, Mr. Khera, there are three principles of Gandhi. One, Gandhi believed that with love you can win everybody. Two, Gandhi believed in tolerance. And three, Gandhi believed in non-violence. Three principles. Then he asked me again, are you a Gandhian? I don't know what came to my mind. I said, I've been living in the US for the past 45 years, but I'm an Indian. And being an Indian, we respect our epics like the Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita, and Guru Granth Sahib. We respect them. I've not read them, but I heard them. And I said, tell me, I asked him, I said, tell me, was Rama Gandhian? Your three principles of Gandhi, was Rama Gandhian? One, you said, with love, you can win everybody. Tell me, was Ram able to win with love? Answer is no. So Ram failed the first test. Two, you said tolerance. Did Ram say, I'm a very tolerant person, you kidnap my wife away, I'll get a second one, you'll kidnap a second one, I'll get a third one, you'll kidnap a third one, get a fourth one? Did he say that? He said, no, I don't tolerate kidnappers. And three, you said non-violence. I said, what did Ram do? He pulled out his weapon and he killed and destroyed the evil. Even for self-defense, that was violence. So I said, well, Ram failed all three tests. That means Ram was not a Gandhian. Ram didn't say, I'm neutral. Ram didn't say, it's okay. He took a stand for something, took a stand against something. He was not neutral. And I said, well, why do you go that far? Go look at the lives of 10 Sikh gurus. 10 Sikh guru when the Mughals were forcibly converting people. Was he able to win with love? No. Did he say, I will tolerate your terrorism? He said, no. Did he pull out the weapon? He did. I said, he was not a Gandhian either. I said, sir, you keep talking of our granths and epics. Show me one of our epics, the sacred books, which says, when the enemy is auctioning the respect and dignity of your women and children, where does it say at that time you should go to temples and do bhajan kirtan at that time or do meditation at that time? It doesn't say anywhere. That is the time to fight. And that is the time. Not fighting is called cowardice, that is not tolerance. I said, keep in mind, many people are listening to this program, and I learned one thing, and many are leaders here. A good leader takes a stand for something and takes a stand against something. And I said, based on the criteria that you just said, sir, I said, I am not a Gandhian. We need to learn to take a stand in life, and that's the only answer. Next step. Next step is we need to learn to accept responsibility in life. If we want to overcome this crisis or stress, we need to learn to accept responsibility. Why am I sharing this? I learned one thing, that faith gives strength, but blind faith leading to superstition weakens people. Why am I sharing this? Because one of the biggest damage done to India has been done by our media, print media or electronic media. The moment you turn the TV on, what do you see? There is a Babaji sitting there in saffron clothes or white clothes and 3 tilaks here and 3 tilaks here. And he's asking, where are you calling from? What is your date of birth? What is your time of birth? He said, Guruji, I don't know. And he said, don't worry, I'll take it out. So he has a laptop and he does tick, 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 tick. And he comes up and he says, I got all the answers. And he says, you have Patni dosh, Putri dosh, Pita dosh, Phalana dosh, this dosh, that dosh. And then he says, you got Manglik, 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 Manglik. And then he says, you got Shani on you, Shani on you, Shani on you. Now the guy says, how do I get rid of Shani? So the Maharaj, Shastriji, whoever it is, he says, the way to get rid of Shani is, you should take a black handkerchief, kala rumal lijiye, and then he says, put a black dal inside, and then put a black kajal on it, and then find somebody with black hair and turn around 7 times, then find a black dog, and then find a black bartan, and then go through the whole process. And folks, people are doing all this stuff. Why am I sharing this with you? If it is so easy to get Shani in, Shani out, Shani in, Shani out, Shani in, Shani out, then why don't we send Shani to Pakistan and destroy all the terrorists? If it is so easy to get Shani in, Shani out, Shani in, Shani out, why don't we send Shani to Ladakh to fight the Chinese? My question is, why is Shani permanently staying in India? Why doesn't Shani ever go to Australia, New Zealand? Folks, why am I sharing all this with you? Because if you read the life history of Swami Vivekananda, Swami Dayanand, Swami Guru Nanak, they never believed in all these things. In fact, they fought against it. Go read their life history. You see, Guru Nanak, in fact, fought against blind faith, Andhvishwas. In fact, in Sikh families, they never tell you horoscopes. There is no Manglik. There is no Shubh Muhurat. Every Sikh wedding is done on a Sunday. Sunday doesn't sit right, they do on a Saturday. Saturday doesn't sit right, they do on a Friday. Folks, think about it, what we are doing. Blind faith is killing us, superstition is killing us. I will share with you an article. Here it says superstition, English language. This article came out in India Today, January 2018. And it says, because of astrology and superstition, natural childbirth has gone down by 80% in some areas of India, 80%. And especially they quoted South India, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Madras. And you can check it out. In these places, 80% of childbirth is done through C-section operation. You know why? Some astrologers said, this is good time to pull out the kid. Good omen, get the kid out. What a joke, what is going on? And there are all kinds of Godmen, Babaji, Guruji, Maharaj, Shastriji, and people go and touch their feet. This guy should be in jail. And every Saturday, all you see is every traffic light, you see 7 chilies, 1 nimbu, 7 chilies, and get rid of Shani. Permanently keep chilies and nimbu in your pocket. Why do I share this? I was coming I was going to the airport once. I was doing a program for Indian Oil. And the driver hit the brakes so hard, the car came to a screeching halt. I asked him, what happened? Of course, the conversation was in Hindi. What happened? He says, "Ab billi rasta kaat gayi, the cat has crossed the road." So I said, now what? He said, this is bad omen. Something bad will happen. I said, if I miss my flight, something bad will happen, guaranteed. Watch. So he says, I'm going to stop the car right now. I said, how long? He said, till somebody else passes now. I said, then something bad will happen to them. He said, that's his problem. You know, he had answers to everything as he had done research on the billy and cat. Then I asked him a next question. I said, tell me, supposing you were 15 yards behind and the cat had crossed the road and you hadn't seen the cat. And in that case, you would have driven straight and you would have been the first car. In that case, what would have happened? He said, in that case, the power of the cat goes down. Look at this, the power of the cat goes down. You know something? MBAs, PhDs are doing all this stuff. And people are going to Babas all the day and touching their feet. And they're going by thousands. And one Baba said, what is your problem? Did you have jalebi yesterday? He said, no, that's the problem. And one Baba is selling preet, preet, preet. One Baba is selling honey. Another Baba is selling honey preet together. What a joke. Now, why am I sharing this with you? Because everybody in this world, we all have ups and downs. Everybody has ups and downs. Show me one person in the world who does not have a down. If they say never have a down, they're lying. You see, we all have ups and downs. But when a person has a down, and if they accept responsibility, and if they're looking to get up in life, go up and succeed in life, they will analyze the situation and ask, if a similar situation came again, will I behave the same way? If the answer is yes, that means you've not learned anything. They learn from it, accept responsibility, and they do not repeat the same mistake again. But people who are not looking to get anywhere, they don't want to accept responsibility. You know, when things go wrong, what they say? Not my fault. My stars are not favoring me. And they will go to astrologers. They will wear all kinds of rings. They will change their names and numerology. They'll do all kinds of stuff. Folks, they will repeat the same mistake again and again and again. Folks, to overcome any kind of a stress and crisis in life, remember, we need to accept responsibility. You can't blame the world. You can't blame the stars. Okay. Now, I share this for an important reason, because in my previous program, I had somebody ask me, Mr. Khera, there are people who go to temples and they stand in line for 10, 12, 15 hours for darshan. Is that faith or is that blind faith? Folks, my answer to them is that, look, I pray to God. Every day I leave my home. Before I leave home, I pray. Now, why do I pray to God? Have I seen God? Where is God? Who is God? What is God? I don't have the answers. Now, if I don't know what is God, where is God, who is God, then why do I pray? Well, I pray because I believe in God, because there are so many things in life which are superhuman, universal in this universe, And whether they're miracles or mysteries, I don't know. But they are beyond human. Therefore, there is a superpower, which I call it God. That's it. But, so I pray. But in the last 45 years, barring 5, 6 times, I have not visited any temple. And I feel so strongly that most people who go to temples, they go there more out of fear than out of faith. You don't do this, this will happen. You don't do this, this will happen. You don't do this, this will happen. And they're squeezing things, money out of you. Folks, we need to understand what are we doing. There's a difference. Vishwas gives strength. Andavishwas weakens people. Faith gives strength. Blind faith leading to superstition weakens people. And folks, lastly, I'll close this program with one last item, and that is that this is time to give back. It is time to give back. We are grateful to God. We're living in a respectable home and we have honorable food. But many people are not privileged. They don't have the food and the home. But I have seen all over the world, there are many, many, many good people who have come forward with money, time, food, helping the underprivileged. But there is one community who has been honored as a community all over the world by the government of Canada, government of the United States, UK, Australia, New Zealand. All governments all over the world have honored us as one community for the humanitarian service. And that community is called the Sikh community of India. I feel so proud. The Sikh community of India. You know why? Even before this crisis came, their concept of sharing goes back 500 years, the langar, feeding the underprivileged. Thousands and millions of people are getting fed every day. You know why? Because the Sikh philosophy and the philosophy of Guru Granth Sahib believes in caring, sharing, and daring. The caring people, they care. The sharing people, they share. And the daring people, they dare. They have the guts and courage to fight. Look at that Sikh boy, 22-year-old, killed 12 Chinese before he went. Folks, the Sikh philosophy believes in one thing. Zulm karna paap hai, zulm sehna usse bhi bada paap hai. And then, the Sikh philosophy believes in 3 things. No wonder they've been honored all over the world. 3 things. Nam jap, vanchak, kiratkar. Nam jap means that take the name of God. God is omnipotent, nirankari God. Yeah, formless. 2, vanchak is share with others. And 3, kiratkar. Kiratkar means dignity of labor. Dignity of labor means nothing is small in life. Nothing is small. Folks, there are many people listening to this program today. I bet, show me one person in the world today. Anybody has seen a Sikh gentleman begging? Never. You will never find a Sikh beggar anywhere in the world. You know why? This is not ego. Because this is dignity of labor. They will clean the toilet. They will clean the bathroom. They will clean your shoes, but they will not beg. This is dignity of labor. And the best thing is, in Sikhs, see, every Hindu family used to make the eldest son as a Sikh. See, the Sikhs have no caste. We noticed every Sikh man, last name is a Singh, every Sikh woman is a Kaur. There is no other name. I wish in India, I wish in India we had adopted the philosophy of Guru Granth Sahib and the Sikh philosophy instead of our own constitution. This country would have been totally a different country here. Folks, with those words, I would like to close the program by congratulating the Union Bank one more time. And I'll hand over the mic back to Amit right here, sir. Amit, could you take the mic, please?
Thank you so much, Mr. Khera. It's been an absolute honor listening to you, and I'm sure our audiences here would have gained a lot of pointers, and I hope they can implement that in life. And along with them, I personally too have completely been enthralled by the last hour of conversation. Thank you so much, Mr. Khera.
Great. Thank you very much.